Hello children, how are you all? Are you all preparing for midterm exam? Study well and score good marks. This is the last time, okay? And see, in our last science class, we learned the structure of Earth. Earth has three layers that are outermost layer of the earth is called crust. In between crust and core there is mantle, and core is divided. The center is core, and the core is divided into outer core and inner core. We learned this yesterday, and we learned the two types of movements. We learned, which are their rotation and revolution. And if the earth moves its own axis, this is the axis, imaginary axis, equator, northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere. If moves on its own axis, it is called rotation. And if it moves around the sun, like this, it moves around the sun, it is called what? Revolution. And the face of the earth, which faces towards the sun, has day, and the other has night. And today we are learning seasons. In your lower classes, you learned different types of seasons. Which are they? Yes, winter, summer, monsoon, and spring, autumn. These are the seasons. And what is the reason for seasons? Revolution of the earth is the reason for seasons. The earth revolves around the sun. However, during its revolution, the earth always remains tilted on its axis at an angle of 23.5 degree. As a result, at a certain time of the year, the northern hemisphere is bent towards the sun, while the southern hemisphere away from the sun. And at some other times, about 6 months later, the southern hemisphere is bent towards the sun, while the northern hemisphere is away from it. The hemisphere which tilted towards the sun gets the direct sun rays, so it is warmer and it has longer days and shorter nights. It has summer. At the same time, the other hemisphere that is away from the sun gets less sun rays, slanting sun rays, so it is cooler, and it has shorter days and longer nights. It is winter. Okay, see, one picture is given in your textbook, and in the middle of our solar system there is sun, and all the planets moving around it through an elliptical path called orbit. So this sun, our earth, changes its position while it is moving around the sun. All of you listen here. If this is sun, if this is sun, our earth moves around this. Our earth, if you just imagine, this is our earth, and it has an axis, tilted axis, and a line divides this into two halves. So now this is northern hemisphere and this is southern hemisphere. Okay, and when it changes its position, now just imagine our earth is here, then now also this is northern hemisphere, this is southern hemisphere. Like this it changes its position. Okay, then like this it changes its position and the tilted axis, and here is southern hemisphere, here is northern hemisphere. Okay, and if it is moving like this, and see, now this is northern hemisphere and this is southern hemisphere, and now you can see this is southern hemisphere and this is northern hemisphere. Now here it is southern hemisphere faces the sun, here northern hemisphere faces the sun. So the phases changing while while our earth revolves around the sun. This is called the revolution of the earth. This is called the revolution of the earth. സൂര്യന് ചുറ്റും കറങ്ങുക, ഇതിനെന്ത് പറയും? റെവല്യൂഷൻ എന്ന് പറയും അല്ലെ. അപ്പോഴാണ് സീസൺസ് ഉണ്ടാകുന്നേ ഈ ചേഞ്ച് വരുമ്പോൾ. അപ്പൊ ഇവിടെ നോർത്തേൺ ഹെമിസ്ഫിയറിന് ഫേസ് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ, when northern hemisphere faces the sun, that part gets direct sunlight, and other parts getting the sunlight in slanting position. So here it is hotter, and here there is summer, here winter. And now in southern hemisphere it is it is summer, and northern hemisphere it is winter. So this is the revolution is the reason for the cause of seasons. Okay, revolution is the reason for seasons. Revolution makes seasons. Revolution of the earth cause seasons. And see, for example, when it is summer in India in northern hemisphere, or India is in northern hemisphere and Brazil is in southern hemisphere, it has winter. So both are in opposite direction. India northern hemisphere-ലും ബ്രസീൽ southern hemisphere-ലും ആയിരിക്കും. അപ്പോൾ ഇന്ത്യയിൽ സമ്മർ ആണെങ്കിൽ ബ്രസീലിൽ എന്തായിരിക്കും? വിന്റർ ആയിരിക്കും. അതാണ് നമ്മൾ ഫോറിൻ കൺട്രീസിൽ, ഇപ്പോൾ ഓസ്ട്രേലിയയിലൊക്കെ പോയിട്ട് കസിൻസ് ഒക്കെ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അറിയാം, അവിടെ നൈറ്റ് ആകുമ്പോൾ നമ്മൾക്ക് ഉച്ചയ്ക്കായിട്ടുണ്ടാവുള്ളൂ. 5 മണിക്കൂർ ലേറ്റ് ആണ്, 5 hours അവർ മുൻപിലാണ് നമ്മളെക്കാളും. Why it is so? Due to the revolution of the earth around the sun, and it changes its position. So sometimes some countries become far away from the sun due to revolution. And see, what about the equator? ഇക്വേറ്ററിൽ കിടക്കുന്ന സ്ഥലങ്ങൾക്ക് എപ്പോഴും എന്തായിരിക്കും? ചൂട് തന്നെ കിട്ടിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കും അല്ലേ. സോ ഇറ്റ് ഹാസ് 12 hours night and 12 hours day. ഈ സദേൺ ഹെമിസ്ഫിയർ ആയാലും നോർത്തേൺ ഹെമിസ്ഫിയർ ആയാലും, സി, equator getting light in equal amount of sunlight. Always they are getting equal amount of sunlight, which are the places near the equator. So see, for example, when it is summer in India, in Brazil, in southern hemisphere it is winter. Regions at or near the equator receive the same amount of sunlight all around the year. I told you. So it is like summer, 12 hours of day and 12 hours of night throughout the year. So the countries which are in equator, this is equator. എങ്ങനെ തിരിഞ്ഞു പോയാലും റെവല്യൂഷൻ വന്നാലും ഇക്വേറ്ററിലുള്ള സ്ഥലങ്ങൾക്ക് എപ്പോഴും ഹീറ്റ് കിട്ടിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കും, സൺലൈറ്റും ഹീറ്റ് കിട്ടിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കും. So they have summer throughout the year. And autumn season comes between summer and winter, while spring comes between winter and summer. Thus, both revolution and tilting of the earth are responsible for changes in seasons in different parts of the earth. So, due to the tilted position, ചരിഞ്ഞാണ് ഭൂമി കറങ്ങുന്നത് അല്ലേ. 23 degree 23.5 degree tilted ആണ് ഇമാജിനറി ആക്സിസിൽ. ഈ ചരിവും ഈ റെവല്യൂഷനുമാണ് സീസൺസിന് കാരണം. സോ we have finished our fourth lesson. All of you read this lesson. Just read this lesson and learn for midterm. Today all of you learn for midterm. Okay.